From the PEP Radio Newsroom, these are the stories we are covering at this hour. The Welcome Corps, a refugee resettlement program which launched last year, pairs groups of Americans with newly arrived refugees. So far, the resettlement program has connected 3,500 sponsors with 1,800 refugees, and many more want to help. 100,000 people have applied to become sponsors. President Joe Biden has sought to rebuild the refugee programs Donald Trump largely dismantled as president, working to streamline the process of screening and placing people in America. New refugee resettlement sites have opened across the country, and on Tuesday, the Biden administration announced that it resettled 100,000 refugees in fiscal year 2024, the largest number in more than 3 decades. In contrast, Trump has pledged to bar refugees from Gaza, reinstate his Muslim ban, and impose ideological screening for all immigrants if he regains the presidency. He and running mate J.D. Vance are laying groundwork for their goal of deporting millions of illegal immigrants by amplifying false claims, such as the accusation that Haitians given temporary protected status to remain in the United States legally are eating pets in Ohio. Under Biden, meanwhile, two human rights officials in the State Department were tasked last year with identifying refugees who face persecution either due to their sexual orientation or human rights advocacy. LGBTQ refugees are forced to flee their homes due to persecution and violence, not unlike other people, said Jeremy Haldeman, Deputy Executive Director of the Community Sponsorship Hub, which implements the Welcome Corps on behalf of the State Department. But they are particularly vulnerable because they're coming from places where their identities are criminalized and they are at risk of imprisonment or even death. More than 60 countries have passed anti-LGBTQ laws, and thousands of people have fled the Middle East and Africa seeking asylum in Europe. In April, Uganda's Constitutional Court on Wednesday upheld an anti-gay law that allows the death penalty for aggravated homosexuality. In this news from Georgia, ABC affiliate WHTM is reporting that Georgia prison officials are deliberately indifferent to unchecked deadly violence, widespread drug use, extortion, and sexual abuse at state lockups, according to a U.S. Justice Department report that was issued on Tuesday. And they've threatened to sue the state if it doesn't quickly take steps to curb rampant violations of prisoners' Eighth Amendment protections against cruel punishment. Prison officials responded with a statement saying that the prison system operates in a manner exceeding the requirements of the United States Constitution and decrying the possibility of years of expensive and unproductive court monitoring by federal officials. Allegations of violence, chaos, and grossly inadequate staffing are laid out in the Justice Department's grim 93-page report, the result of a statewide civil rights investigation into Georgia prisons announced in September 2021. The system holds an estimated 50,000 people. Multiple allegations of sexual abuse are recounted in the report, including abuse of LGBTQ inmates. A transgender woman reported being sexually assaulted at knife point. Another inmate said that he was extorted for money and sexually abused after 6 people entered his cell. Included in the report are 13 pages of recommended short and long-term measures the state should take. The report concludes with a warning that legal action was likely. The document said the Attorney General may file a lawsuit to correct the problems in 49 days and could also intervene in any related existing private lawsuits in 15 days. And finally, Forbes magazine is reporting that the scientifically discredited practice of conversion therapy is still prevalent in several U.S. states to this day. And a new study found LGBTQ plus people who undergo the practice are more likely to experience poor mental health than those who haven't. Researchers used data between 2019 and 2021 from the PRIDE study, which is used to collect health data for members of the LGBTQ plus community, from 4,426 LGBTQ plus adults between the ages of 18 and 84, according to the study published Monday in the Lancet Psychiatry. Of the 4,426 participants, 149 had experienced conversion therapy aimed at altering their sexual orientation, 43 had undergone practices targeting their gender identity, and 42 reported experiencing both. Although previous research has investigated how conversion therapy affects patients' mental health, this is the first study to examine the different effects of sexual orientation-based conversion therapy versus gender orientation-based methods. All participants, regardless of gender identity or sexual orientation, who underwent either form of conversion therapy had an increased risk of experience of depression, PTSD, and suicidal thoughts or attempts, though there wasn't an increased risk of anxiety. That's the news at this hour. Now back to more music here on PEP Radio.